All right, let's crack open a real historical and spiritual mystery. We're talking about a collection of beautiful, incredibly powerful poems that were almost lost to time forever. These are the Odes of Solomon. I mean, just think about that for a second. Imagine the earliest expressions of faith, the very first hymns ever sung to Jesus, just disappearing, erased from history, like they were never there at all. Well, that's not some hypothetical question. It's exactly what happened. This is the incredible detective story of the Odes of Solomon, a journey of loss, of discovery, and of rediscovery, one piece at a time. Okay, so what are we actually talking about here? What are these odes? Let's dive right in and cover the basics of this lost book of hymns. So, the Odes of Solomon, it's a collection of 42 ancient poems, and you can basically think of them as the lyrics to some of the very first Christian worship songs. Now, you'll hear them called an apocryphal text. That just means they're not officially in the Bible, but wow, do they give us a priceless window into what early Christians actually believed and felt. Right, so you're probably wondering, why Solomon? And that's a great question. While they're named after the legendary king, pretty much all scholars agree he didn't actually write them. So who did? Well, that's the thing. Their true origin is a complete historical puzzle, which just adds another layer of mystery to the whole story, doesn't it? And here's the real kicker. This is what makes the story so compelling. Finding these wasn't as simple as pulling an old book off a dusty shelf. Nope. For centuries, the original manuscript was completely gone, vanished. It was literally as if the songs themselves had just fallen silent. Okay, so if the original was lost, how in the world are we even talking about it today? This is where the story gets really good. It's basically a tale of some serious academic detective work, a puzzle that took centuries and multiple languages to solve. Yeah, this recovery didn't happen overnight, not even close. First, you have the original text just gone. But then, centuries later, scholars started finding these little clues, tiny fragments of the odes that had been translated into other ancient languages, like Coptic and Syriac. Every single one was like a puzzle piece, and slowly, painstakingly, they were able to put the bigger picture back together and give us the modern translations we can read today. So, they found it. They pieced it back together. But what does it say? What secrets are hidden in these poems? What makes them so unique and so powerful? Let's get into it and decode what's actually inside. What's so fascinating about the odes is how they blend two different worlds together. On one hand, you get stuff that feels really familiar, biblical references to the creation story or Jesus's mission. But then, mixed right in, you have these more mystical Gnostic themes, ideas about a hidden divine realm or achieving spiritual enlightenment. It's this unique mix that gives us a peek into a very different kind of early Christianity than we usually think about. And the language? Oh, it's just beautiful. The odes are packed with symbolism. They use this really powerful, natural imagery to talk about deep spiritual ideas. So instead of just dry, abstract language, the soul's journey becomes a rose tree. Wisdom is an olive tree. And that feeling of God's presence, it's like the warmth of the sun. It's poetry that's really meant to be felt, not just analyzed. Let's take Ode 13 as an example. It's not just a poem about a plant. It takes that rose tree and turns it into this absolutely beautiful metaphor for the soul's journey, which can be difficult, for sure, but is ultimately beautiful on its path towards God. It's that kind of poetic depth that really makes these odes so captivating. And you can't overstate how significant these are. I mean, we're talking about some of the earliest hymns ever written directly to Jesus Christ. Take Ode 18, for example. It's often called the Christological hymn, which is just a fancy word meaning it's all about who Christ is. It's this incredibly powerful expression of his divine nature and his mission. It's like a direct window into the heart of what early Christian worship actually sounded and felt like. So, who are the main characters in these poems, so to speak? Well, you have King Solomon, the name on the tin, but the real stars of the show are Jesus Christ, who's front and center, and the Holy Spirit, who's often called on to be a guide and a comforter. All right, so we've got this ancient book, painstakingly pieced together from scattered fragments, but why does it still matter? Why are we talking about it now? Let's look at its lasting legacy, its echo through time. I mean, that's the big question, right? So what? Why should we care about this ancient, fragmented collection of poems? Did it really have any lasting impact? Turns out the answer is a definite yes. Its influence is actually surprisingly wide-ranging. From a musical standpoint, it helped shape Christian hymns for centuries to come, especially in the Byzantine tradition. And get this, they were even used in actual church services back in early Christianity. On top of all that, their unique mix of ideas still influences spiritual thought and scholarly work today. Pretty amazing for a lost book. You know, the story of the Odes of Solomon is such a powerful reminder that history is just full of these hidden treasures. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If a masterpiece like this could be rediscovered, what other lost voices, what other forgotten songs are still out there, just waiting for someone to find them and piece their story back together again?